Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We are back. It's been a hectic couple months with the IPL. That's why me and Don sometimes we take days off with other work because there's cricket match every single day. It's difficult to keep up sometimes. So I apologize for that. But El Clasico today, bottom of the table clash, CSK versus Mumbai, low scoring encounter, but Mumbai winning in the end. But for me, it was a controversial game. No DRS in the first half, then DRS in the second half. Of course, there's going to be memes about Ambani. There's going to be memes about Mumbai and everything. But Don, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, first of all, that was a terrible decision. Anyone who would just see that in the first attempt knows it's missing leg. And then if you have that kind of a condition, okay, fine. You know what? Sometimes these kind of things happen. But if you're going to have that kind of a condition, then it should be consistent throughout. They should have completely like cancelled it out through the game or whatever. They shouldn't have allowed it in the
And then
second half.
we get asked why don't we like Mumbai?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of shady business over there. Uh, and that kind of messes with your head. And I think that's what happened with CSK. They got very frustrated with that. Came out like a little bit harsh. I guess they came out with wanting to prove a point, and then they one after the other wickets. They just kept losing wickets. After 5 for 3, you're really only always behind the 8 ball, and then Dhoni didn't get any support in the end over there. So it's a little unfortunate. It is what it is. At 97, you really didn't have a chance, but they made a game out of it. At 33 for 4, there was a little bit of worry, but I think Tilak Verma and Ritik Shokeen, I think hats off to them. I think they were able to curb that initial pressure, and then Tim David in the end coming with those two big blows and finishing it off.
Yeah, and Daniel Sam's been a revelation. What a comeback! Like getting hit for 34 in that over 35, whatever it was, and coming back, winning that previous game, bowling that last over against Gujarat, and then again here, picking up 3 wickets and economy of just for he's stepping up for Mumbai now, and it shows that they do have bowling depth. So even with when Archer does come along, they do have that option of Daniel Sams, and I think maybe you can rely on him in every game, but he's a very good squad player.
Absolutely, I think they've like they've had a poor season, but they've unearthed one or two at least good players, and then like in the likes of Tilak Verma, in the likes of Tim David and Daniel Sams, they have good quality players that they can bank on and build the team on the name. This is looking at a solid team at 6, 7, and 8. If you have Tim David, Daniel Sams and Jofra Archer coming in, that's a pretty solid middle order that they're gonna create. With Tilak Verma, Surya Kumar, they have a solid team base going forward, and Pollard is probably going to be their player that they'll probably kind of use sporadically, and then they can bring in a spinner as well. They have another option for another foreign player. So this team is building well. I think they've this season's done. I think they'll more than likely finish last. If not last, they'll probably finish last but one. But this season's almost done. But they're now trying to figure out what they have and who they can use. Daniel Sams has now made a very good strong case for himself. In the players, Tim David has made a strong case for himself. They have some good options over there now.
Yeah, 100%. And from the CSK's point of view, like you said, like when you bat like that, it becomes very difficult when you get that kind of start. Dhoni getting a few runs, and then with the ball, Mukesh Chaudhary outstanding again, 4 overs, 23 runs, 3 wickets. He's been bowling really well, and Simranjit Singh, like a new bowler that we saw, not bad either. Economy of 5.5. But yeah, it was always going to be a tough task. And both these teams, but now both these teams, how do you look at it? Like with Mumbai, you've already mentioned that there's potential. There's Tim David there, Dewal Brevis. They have options. Daniel Sams, Archer coming back, so it's more positive. But from Chennai, what do you look at it? Because Jadeja. Apparently got injured. He unfollowed CSK. I don't know how true that is, but I think it's true because there's official journalists who have been tweeting that. And but how do you see this Dhoni? How we don't know how many years he has left. It might be his last season. Again, even if it's not his last season, it's not too many seasons left. So how do you see the rebuild for both these teams?
Yeah, it's actually, I think for Chennai, it's just like specifically for Chennai, I think for them also, it's I think the same case. Try to find what they can, and try to do a few players. Then they've tried like the fact Mukesh Chaudhary has been a revelation for them. In phases, I think Tikshana, they found a decent spinner, mystery spinner in Tikshana, but they're going to have to look past these older players, the likes of Bravo, Dhoni for that matter. They're going to have to try to figure out And I think if they've decided that Jaddu is not their player moving forward, then who is their player? They have to find a
Surprising they
player.
did that with the Indian player.
It's
That is
it's it's a
surprising.
it's an extremely big call because Jaddu is your first retention as well. So it's 16
And he,
crores on
yeah,
the bank for it
15
as well.
crores. He was your
So
captain. He was
yeah.
your all rounder, and he provides everything, right? So that is
So it's a very interesting decision that they've gone. But I guess maybe like for example, it won't be talked about, but David Warner with Sunrisers, similar kind of situation. We can see something like that. Maybe not to the extent that it was with them, but I think at least we're trying to see something brewing, and I think that both the parties are trying to keep it quiet because with David Warner, there's no quiet. It's going to be loud and clear. So
yeah.
that's the end thing. So I think both the parties are trying to keep it quiet. Maybe he comes back next season, but not on a captaincy
Even
level.
in
I think
Warner's case, he didn't react like in an angry way. He just said
right.
that I felt that I should have got a longer rope. That's all he
Yeah,
said.
absolutely, and I think he was right in his own way, and I think Jadeja will have a lot to say himself as well. So I think we tend to overanalyze these things a lot. We just have to wait and see how that
We
plays out.
do, we do, but the thing is, again, like knowing that this social media is like so relevant in this world, I think both players and clubs have to be a bit more careful in this kind of situation. If you want to keep it on the low, there's a way to keep it on the low, not by
Absolutely,
unfollowing or not by like why are you giving us the bait, right? So
yeah.
I feel sometimes they do that just for I wouldn't say publicity, but like to be in the news, to be relevant.
And then that's probably what it is too, as well, because they haven't had the best of season. So, do these kind of things to just keep CSK trending or
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, I'm just, like just playing with that. But I think at the end of the day, I think they'll have to start looking at the captain material. They someone like a who can
will
give
be.
you 3 to 5 years. Maybe
Yeah,
bring in some young blood. Maybe like a Rituraj Gaikwad can be given that opportunity because he's a youngster. He'll probably give you 5-7 good years. It's going to be hard, because it's not easy because that is the only team that has 15 years of a same captain. From 2008, there's been only one captain, so it's going to be hard
yeah,
to make that transition. A lot of teams have changed several captains, but for him, for Dhoni, for CSK, it's always been like a stable in Dhoni. So
yeah,
they'll have to work with a few things for sure over there. Maybe if they really want to give Dhoni a break and just be him, keep him in the team as a player, try to find at least in a temporary stopgap arrangement. Maybe try to bring in an Ian Morgan for a year or two, just maybe because he adds that value as well. But I think they'll have to look a little bit more long term. They'll have to try to see if they can find an Indian player that they can trust to go the distance. Like KKR has found Shreyas Iyer. They haven't had the best of seasons, but I think he is their player for the future in a couple, at least for 2-3 seasons. So they have a player like that. Maybe Chennai finds like someone like I don't know, some options that are available that have not done that well for their current franchises and are trying to look for a move. It's going to be hard to find someone like that, but maybe just trust Rituraj and give him 2-3 seasons rope to try to understand the weeds of it with Dhoni kind of helping him out, and then him taking over for the full-time role. They have to do something, and they found a few good players, like I said, in Tikshana and Mukesh Chaudhary. They'll have Deepak Chahar back, so they'll be a different side as well next season. If they can add a little bit more strength in their batting, I think they have a good chance to
yeah.
make a better showing of themselves in the next season.
Yeah, I think it's more of replacing Dhoni,
Yeah.
whereas
And
like
it's not never going to be easy to replace Dhoni. Even as a player and as a captain, it's always going to be extremely hard to replace Dhoni.
yeah,
So
hundred
we'll
percent,
see.
100%. Your player of the match.
I think give it to Daniel Sams. I think he broke the back of that Chennai innings, and they never came back out of that. So I think Daniel Sams is a fair count. I think a good fair shout to Tilak Verma as well, because he steadied the ship after a little bit of a thing. But I think to be able to get them out 97 all out was the first important part which they took care of. So.
Yeah, even Kumar Karthikeya, he also contributed. But it's good to see these guys, that we
A
have.
lot of good players, a lot
Yeah,
of, I mean, but like you said, IPL always unearths some gems. It's
yeah,
just a matter of seeing consistency with them. We are seeing Venkatesh Iyer struggle a little bit, even though he had one good game now, but he's been struggling a little bit. So, the second season, third season syndrome for a lot of these players is a problem. So we'll have to see how a lot of these guys come back in their next
yeah.
seasons.
And that's why I keep reiterating this point that when you select for India, you cannot. Now it's even further more proven that you cannot use IPL as a standard, because there's two more teams, so there's weaknesses in every team. There's going to be holes. There's like overs you can target. Whereas in international, you have to play 4 overs of Shine, then you have to play Haris Rauf, then you have to play Hassan Ali, then you have to play Shadab. It's different, right?
Yeah.
You don't have somebody coming in and like as a part time or this. We've seen a lot of part timers bowl in this tournament. We've seen 1 or 2 week overs targeted. So that's why I feel that like when you make a team for the World Cup, you have to play international cricket, whether it's T20 or one day cricket. You have to play cricket before the World Cup, and that's where you can base your selection off.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
And I think that pretty much wraps this up. And quickly, tomorrow is RCB versus Punjab. RCB fourth, Punjab eighth. It looks
RCB
like
is fifth now. Oh no, fourth. Yeah,
I think the fourth.
the fourth. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, for RCB it's about getting that playoff spot. They still have a bit of a gap, whereas Punjab, it looks one more loss and they're completely out of it. If they win, there's some hope. But how do you look at this game?
Yeah, after DC's win yesterday, I think they've opened it up for a lot of players. Like the teams like Sunrisers and Punjab still have a hope because of DC's win yesterday. So tomorrow's game becomes interesting. If Punjab wins tomorrow, again it gives a lot of hope to the teams like Sunrisers and KKR has an outside chance. Mathematically, still very difficult, but things like that can play in their favor. So it's going to be good for the neutrals to support Punjab because that means that there's no dead rubbers for the next week. Yeah. But with that being said, I think Punjab is like such a difficult team to judge and to make an analysis on. So and Bangalore is I think started to stabilize themselves quite well. I think even though they've had a couple of bad games in this season, but they've already made that 14-point mark, which is a pretty important mark. Another win for them, and they are pretty much done for. So it'll be a very, very interesting game. If the Punjab side that we know on paper shows up, they are unbeatable. I think, in my personal opinion, they have very good bowling side, very good batting side. Only problem is, does that side show up every time? Very inconsistent. That's the problem.
Yeah, they play high risk cricket. Your players to watch out for?
I think keeping it with the guys that have made the big bucks around this time, the Liam Livingston and what's his name? Maxi. Yeah, I was like, why am I not getting his name?
I thought you were talking about a domestic player, like something.
I was like, I was like, in my head, Faf is coming, but I'm like, no, the middle order batsman. So I'm like, so the hard hitting batsman in name Liam and Maxi.
Yeah, no, 100%. And whoever is watching can ask questions. Me and Don will be going on for another 2 hours. We have nothing to do, so.
The excitement is pulsating, I can tell.
I'm just joking. There's a big game coming up, so we'll wrap it up. Don, just very quickly, you're okay with the 10-team tournament, or for me it's a bit draining, man. Maybe split it into 2 proper groups and cut the games a bit. And
they have to do. They have to have.
I know the COVID situation, but like I can't wait till the home and away starts again.
Yeah, and we spoke about it with Punter as well. Like we were having a discussion offline. I think both of us kind of agreed that there has to be a better format in which this has worked out. This format is draining. You have seen that players like avid cricket fans like you and me also have found it a little hard to sometimes watch every ball. We sometimes miss a few half of a game here and there. Of course, sometimes it's not because of whatever we can do, but sometimes, other things come up, other commitments come up. So it's just very difficult to give that kind of undivided attention. I genuinely believe that if they can find a different format, we spoke about this, but they found a very interesting format in the playoff situation. They did that 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4. That, that's something that has actually made this tournament a better tournament to watch. They have to find something else like this in this. Yeah. So maybe they go 5-5, and then just the top 2 teams play one game and finish it, or something like that. No semi-final or something. Just like a proper.
They're trying to extract as much money as possible,
and that's understandable.
But the thing is, I still feel you can make that money by making it a bit shorter but exciting. You can still make that money. You can get those views. You can crack a.
And all they need to do is they need to do Mumbai in one team and CSK in one side. The Mumbai and CSK, I know they want to play each other, but Mumbai and CSK will bring you that viewership. So if you always have that, and then you can have RCB, and then you can have someone like I guess who's the next best team? Rajasthan, who's been doing well, or whatever. Kolkata has been doing well. Yeah. So these are the kind of sides you can have, and then these then the fillers. Like with due respect, I think Sunrisers and Gujarat and Lucknow, these guys have a little bit of a gap in terms of their fan following. So then they can bring in these fillers of these teams and then have that kind of play out. I think it's possible. They have to just smartly work on it, and they have a year now to do it, because I'm pretty sure if we are seeing it, they are seeing it as well.
Yeah. Because you see this kind of game, if you have like a smaller tournament where everyone is more fresh, and you have like a game going into the Super Bowl, you'll make up those views easily. So I think
Absolutely, 100%.
And it's weird, like just before the IPL, so excited, and now I'm waiting for that fifth test match. Like I've been waiting in the last week. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm gonna go into the highlights and stuff in a few weeks of the last summer, and I just can't wait to watch Test cricket in England, whatever it is, even if it's county cricket. I've already seen Pujara, Rizwan make a partnership and everything. So yeah, I think that's how our mind works, right? We always crave what we don't have.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much. No luck for you today. I'm not going to give you good luck. I want Tottenham to win. I'm going to tell you
Of course you do.
the greatest team in North London. But yeah, no, best of luck. It's going to be a good game. Hopefully, you're as excited as I was yesterday for different reasons. Fantasy football changes all loyalties, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell.
Thank you so much, and take care. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Yeah, sounds good. Take